Hello and welcome. In this session, we are going to be talking about the features of Python. When we talk about the features of Python, we mean the characteristics of Python which makes it unique. As previously we saw that Python is widely used in so many fields and by various companies. So these features of Python will tell us about those characteristics of Python which makes Python unique. So let's get started. The first feature of Python is that Python has a readable and simple syntax. So Python is considered one of the easiest programming language to learn, especially for beginners. This is because it has a simple and straightforward syntax that is similar to English. For example, there is an example here down. You have print hello world. This example prints hello world to the console and is quite straightforward. Print hello world. Just by seeing it, you already know what it does. So let's move ahead to the second feature. The second feature of Python is that Python is dynamically typed. When we talk about dynamically typed, it means that the type of variable is not declared explicitly. If you have experience with other languages such as C, C++, Java, you're going to notice that you have to explicitly declare the type of the variable you're using. For example, if you want to use an integer, you have to specify that you're using an integer. If you want a character, you have to specify. A string, you have to specify. But in Python, you only need to give the variable name and give the value. During the runtime, the compiler is going to dynamically assign the type to the variable based on the value which you provided as an input. So that is what is meant by dynamically typed. So you don't need to specify the type of variable. All you need to do is give the variable name. For example, here we have a variable equals to 5. So during the runtime, the compiler is going to assign 5 to this variable, and it is going to know that okay, this number is an integer, so it is going to assign the type integer to this variable. And here in the second variable we have hello. So this hello here, it is in double quotes, which means it is a string. And so in compile time, the string is going to be assigned to this variable. So this variable will be of type string. Don't worry if you don't understand. When we will start coding, you're going to understand each and every one of these clearly. So let's move to the third. Another feature of Python is that Python is object oriented. Python supports object oriented programming, which allows programmers to create reusable code and develop applications in more modular way. So Python supports concepts such as classes, objects, inheritance, polymorphism. All of these are object oriented concepts. Okay, in object oriented programming we have classes, object, inheritance, polymorphism. Don't worry if you don't understand any of this. In the future sections we are going to cover each of these topics step by step. So let me show you an example. This is an example of how to create a class in Python. So we have a class dog, then we have the init method. This init method is a constructor, and then we have a method here, a back method, which backs. So here below we have an example of how to create an object. So this is just to show you that Python supports classes and objects. Okay, so we are going to be looking at this in depth in the upcoming videos. So since Python is object oriented, it supports classes, objects, inheritance, polymorphism. So we are going to be looking at that in the upcoming sessions. The next feature of Python is an interpreted language. When we talk about an interpreted language, it means that the code is executed line by line as it is read by the interpreter. Okay, so Python is an interpreted language, which means that the code is executed line by line as it is read by the interpreter. This makes debugging and testing code easier. Since the code is being read line by line, it is easy to pinpoint where your error is coming from. The next feature of Python is that Python is a high-level language. When we talk about high-level language, high-level languages are designed to be closer to human language as possible. Okay, so high level languages are closer to human language and abstract away the low level details from the machine. For example, in Python, Python code doesn't directly allow us to interact with the computer's memory or hardware. The code do, the compiler does it for us under the hood. All we need to do is to concentrate to write the code and build the application. Meanwhile, all the memory management and the hard and certain hardware configurations will be done for us by the compiler itself. Also, Python uses a virtual machine to execute its instruction, which handles the low level details for us. And also, you can focus on the logic of your program without worrying about the hardware specifications. In certain languages like C and other low level languages, you need to know the configuration of the machine, you need to know the architecture of the machine in order to write certain code. But with Python, you can just concentrate on writing your code and everything is going to be done under the hood for you. And that's one thing that makes Python very easy to use. The next feature of Python is portable. Alright, Python is very portable. When we talk about portable, it is due to its platform independence and cross-platform compatibility. This means that Python code can run on different operating systems without requiring major modifications. For example, if I write a code on Windows, a Python code on Windows, that same code which I wrote on Windows, I can easily run that same code on Mac and on Linux without little or no modifications at all for the code to work. It will be the same code working on all the platforms. And also another feature of Python is that Python is robust. When we talk about robust, robust refers to the ability of the language and its associated code to handle errors, unexpected inputs, various edge cases without crashing or exhibiting unpredictable error. Let's take for example you're using an application and the application just freezes due to an error. No user wants that kind of experience. So when we talk about robust, we are talking about the language ability to take care of these errors. So in Python, Python provides a robust exception handling mechanism which developers use in order to handle these errors. And these mechanisms, we have the try, except, and finally block to catch and handle exceptions, preventing programs to crash when error occurs. So we can easily handle these exceptions to give the user a smooth experience. So rather than the program crashing, an error will instead be shown. For example, you are in an application and you try entering in a letter in a number field and it says only numbers are accepted. So rather than the application blocking, it instead gives you back a message and tells you that this thing you're trying to do is wrong. So that is exception handling. It handles the exception in order to give the user a smooth experience. Another feature of Python is that Python has a very large community. So Python has more than above 50 million developers with variety of skills and experience. In 2022, Python became the second most used programming language on GitHub and it just keeps increasing. And also with emerging fields like um, machine learning, data science, artificial intelligence, Python is only becoming more popular and more used by so many different companies. Python comes with a rich standard library that provides models for various tasks. So Python has libraries such as Pandas, NumPy, TensorFlow, which are extensively used in data science and machine learning. Python also has frameworks such as Django and Flask, which are used for back-end development, and many others to support various operations for dates, databases, and OS specific tasks. So Python is being used for mobile development, web development, machine learning, artificial intelligence, data science. This is due to its extensive library which supports all of these tasks. So people will easily use those libraries to perform those tasks. So that's one of the reasons why Python is so widely used due to its libraries. So in this video, we saw the features of Python. We saw that the features of Python which makes Python unique are readability and simple syntax, Python is dynamically typed, object oriented. Python is also an interpreted language. Python is a high level language. Python is a portable language. Python is robust. Python has a large community, and also Python has an extensive standard library. So with this, we have come to the end of this section, and if you have any question at all, just write it down in the comment section below, and I'm going to reply to you. And also, if there is something you didn't understand and you want a video to be made on it, leave it down in the comment section below, and I will address it in a separate video. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. See you in the next section.